Hello, 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 hello. So, hello then. The world changed again this week. Most people will scroll past these headlines and not understand what just happened tonight. We slow it down and make sense of it together. So, we do have some stories here, and there's a signal underneath all these noise. Every week, AI Twitter explodes, models drop, companies raise billions. Someone says AGI is coming next year, and most people either panic or tune out completely. Neither of those is the right move. So, what we are doing tonight is different. We are not going to hype anything, we are going to look at what actually happened this week, clearly, honestly, and in plain language, and ask, what does this mean for you and me? So, the people who understand what's actually happening in AI right now, not the hype, but the real shifts, will have a massive advantage over the next 12 to 24 months. That's why we are here. So we do have 10 stories tonight, and the massive news of Anthropic's valuation $900 billion, 8,000 jobs laid off by Meta, and 80 years old math problem solved by AI. So, to start with the story number one is OpenAI's AI just solved an 80-year-old math problem that's stumped humans. Field medalist Tim Gowers calls it a milestone in AI mathematics. So, because math is supposed to be one thing AI can't really do, not deeply, not creatively. And this week, an internal OpenAI model proved everyone wrong by disproving a geometry conjecture that mathematicians had been stuck on for 80 long years. So OpenAI internal research model, not a public one, an internal one, autonomously worked through a complex geometry problem. It didn't just compute an answer, it found a logical proof that disproved a long standing conjecture. Fields Medal winner Tim Goes reviewed it and said it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a fluke. So, this is where things start getting interesting because math is how we build everything: medicine, physics, engineering, cryptography. When AI gets good at math, it starts getting good at everything else that depends on it. So, think of it like that. A math problem sat on whiteboard for 80 long years. Brilliant humans stared at it. Nobody could solve it. And AI sat down, worked through it, and didn't just solve it, prove the original assumption was wrong. It proved the original assumption was wrong. So that's a different level of reasoning. What is the real impact of it on students, developers, scientists, and everyone? So for the students, AI tutors that actually understand math at a research level not far off now. And for the developers, code verification, formal proofs, and bug detection will leap forward. So, for the scientist, research that would take years may compress into months. And for the everyone, the signals AI is moving from pattern matching into actual reasoning. So here's my honest take. I'm not a mathematician, but I do understand what it means when the hardest, most rigorous form of human thinking, formal mathematical proof, starts being done by machines. This isn't just a cool headline. This is a quiet announcement that rules are changing. But here's the part people are missing about this story. Anthropic hits profit. This is a massive news. And AI isn't just getting smarter at answering questions, it's starting to ask questions that human never thought to ask. That shift is more significant than any benchmark. So the story number two is Anthropic just hits its first even profit and a $900 billion valuation. The maker of Claude reports 10.9 billion in revenue. OpenAI files for IPO on the same week. What actually happened is Anthropic, the company behind Claude, the AI you might be using right now, just reported $10.9 billion in revenue and its first ever profit. At the same time, its valuation is being reported at $900 billion, and in the same news cycle, OpenAI filed for an IPO, the initial public offering. So for years, AI labs were burning money. Investors were betting on a future that hadn't arrived yet. The future just arrived. Anthropic is now profitable. These aren't startups anymore. They're the next generation of tech giants. It is truth and it is live now. So, this matters more than most people realize. When AI labs go profitable, they stop needing permission to go faster. The funding conversions change, the pressure to ship changes, everything accelerates. If you're learning AI skills right now, you are learning the skills of companies that are printing money. The demand of AI engineers, prompt specialists, and AI integrated roles is about to follow that revenue curve directly upward. I talk about learning AI a lot, but moments like this remind me why it matters, not just intellectually, but practically. The companies building this technology are now some of the most valuable on earth. Being fluent in what they are building is increasingly valuable. The biggest shifts happening underneath this story. Google I/O drops Gemini 3.5. Google I/O 2026 Gemini is no longer a chatbot. It's becoming your entire operating system. Think of it like operating system. Gemini 3.5, Gemini Spark, Android XR glasses, and the cross-platform AI layers all at once. So at Google I/O this week, Google didn't just announce a new model; they announced a new vision for what AI is. Gemini 3.5 dropped, but more importantly, Gemini Spark, an always on agent, was unveiled. It can automate recurring tasks, draft emails for you, generate reports, connect to Canva and Instacart, and live inside search, Chrome, Android, YouTube, and Workspace all at once. I always talk about Google. The infrastructure and the operating system around us of Google is very, 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 very intelligent. When Google uh, announce something, it's already done in the operating system and we were using it, but we didn't realize it yet. So Google just told the world we are not building an assistant, we are building an intelligent layer that lives inside everything you already use. That's a complete different product. So they also announced Android XR glasses wearable AI and call it wearable AI. You'll be able to see AI generated information overlaid on the real world. This is the this this is the beginning of shift from AI on your screen on AI in your environment, as I mentioned earlier about that. So the real world impact of this on professional students, developers, and everyone in a nutshell. So for professional, your Gmail and calendar become a briefing assistant that prioritize your day. And for the students, AI natively inside every Google tool you already use for studying. So for the developers, building on top of Gemini new cross-platform layer is a serious, serious opportunity. And for everyone, the app you use to search Google is becoming agent, an AI agent that works for you. So, most people think of AI as a chat box they open. Google just showed their vision of AI as an invisible infrastructure running in the background of your life. Whether that excites or concerns you, it's coming. Understanding how it works, give you a choice in how you actually use it. So, most beginners are ignoring this completely, which is Meta fires 8,000 employees and blames AI for it. So, every major tech company is now competing to be your AI layer. Every major tech company is now competing to be your AI layer, and this is actually truth. Not just your app, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Meta. The question isn't whether AI will be embedded in everything. It already is. AI is already embedded in our system. The question is whose AI are you living inside? This is the bigger question. So, which leads us to the next story, which is Meta cut 8,000 jobs and reassigned 7,000 more and said AI was the reason. Leaked audio reveals Zuckerberg's admitted to tracking productivity to train AI models, and this is a very left game by Mark Zuckerberg, and he played it a lot of times in the past as well. So Meta fired 8,000 employees and reassigned another 7,000 to AI teams separately in leaked audio. Zuckerberg reportedly acknowledged that Meta had been tracking employees' Gmail usage, coding sessions, and internal source to train its AI models. The same week, those 8,000 people lost their job who built that entire system for them. So this isn't just a business story. This is a story what happens when the companies building AI also start using AI to replace the people who built it. The implications are complicated. The bigger number, Meta cuts add to over 100,000 tech industry job losses already recorded in 2026, many attributed directly to AI automations. These aren't layoffs from a recession. These aren't layoffs from a recession. These are structural changes. Learner teams are now able to match the output of much larger ones because of AI tools. Yes and no. Honest take of mine is yes and no. The roles being cut are mostly roles where AI can now handle the repetitive or predictable parts, the role being created. AI integration, AI oversight, AI engineering requirements, human judgment, creativity, and communication. This shift not an end. Do not make yourself upset. There's good things coming up. So I know this is the part of AI news that makes people anxious, and I'm not going to tell you not to take it seriously. Take it seriously, but I will say this, the people who understand what AI can and can do will be the ones adapting fastest. That's the whole reason we show up here. So the opportunity hiding inside this story is Musk loses OpenAI's lawsuit. You might have heard it before me, but a jury needed less than 2 hours to reject Elon Musk's entire lawsuit against OpenAI. And this was correct, quite correct. Elon Musk had sued OpenAI claiming the company violated its original non-profit permission. When it became a for-profit entity, the California just reviewed the full case, unanimously rejected every claim in under 2 hours. So, because Elon Musk is simultaneously building his own competing AI company or XAI, you might know, while trying to legally challenge OpenAI. The lawsuit raised real questions about whether AI labs making billions can be held to their original missions. The jury said no case here. The bigger question is the bigger question this case raised and left unanswered is who holds powerful AI companies accountable. Court said they don't have jurisdiction over the question. Governments are now filling that gap. So, this ruling essentially said that open AI transformation from non-profit to for-profit is legally acceptable, which means the accountability for how these companies operate now falls on regulators, users, and public pressure, not the courts. So I'm not here to take side on Musk versus OpenAI. What I find genuinely interesting is the underlying tension. These companies started with the mission about beneficial AI for humanity, and they've become trillion-dollar commercial entities. The tension isn't going away. This is where things starts getting interesting. AI and the Pope. AI and the Pope. This is a very beautiful story, but I want to ignore it for now. And let's move ahead with the story 7. So, the US government is now using ChatGPT to detect fraud across all 50 states. The Department of Health and Human Services deploys AI to audit federal health spending. So, what actually happened is the US Department of Health and Human Services officially announced it will use ChatGPT and other AI tools to analyze annual audits reports from all 50 states, targeting fraud, waste, and abuse in federal health spending. This is not a pilot, this is national deployment. So, deployment is happening, guys. Why this is a big deal? Let me explain it a bit. Government moves slowly, always. The fact that the US federal government is deploying consumer AI tools at this scale means the adoption curves has gone vertical. This is AI moving from interesting technology to officially government infrastructure. So when government use AI to audit their own spendings, it creates a new kind of accountability and also a new kind of power. AI that can read millions of documents at once will find things humans would never find manually. And this is a harsh reality. And what are the real world impacts for taxpayers, healthcare, developers, and policy students. So for the taxpayers, potentially billions recovered from fraud directly benefiting public services. AI, or for the healthcare, is AI is now regularly a regulatory tool. Providers need to be ready for AI-driven audits. And for the developers, government AI contracts are becoming a major new industry. The jobs are real. So policy students, AI governance is now a concrete career path, not an abstract one. The story doesn't get the attention it deserves. When government adopts AI at scale, it changes hiring, contracts, policy, and accountability simultaneously, which directly impact the life of the citizen of the state. If you are thinking about where stable, well-funded AI roles are, looking at the public sector, it just raises its hands. So the bigger shift happening underneath this story is AMD challenges NVIDIA with 2 nanometer chips. That's quite interesting. So AMD just started building AI chips on 2 nanometers, and NVIDIA's dominance has a real challenge now. So AMD's 6th generation EPYC processor begin production. So the first 2 nanometer HPC product is history. That's quite interesting, guys. So AMD kicked off production of its 6th generation EPYC processor, codenamed Venice, built on TSMC 2 nanometer processor technology. This is the first high performance computing product ever to enter production at this node. AMD is also planning a follow-on chip called Bar. What is that? I do not know the correct pronunciation for it, but you can read it to extend this roadmap. So simple explanation would be smaller nanometer is equal to more transistors is equal to more power per chip. So 2 nanometer is the current cutting edge of what's physically possible in chip manufacturing. The fact that AMD is here means AI compute is about to get significantly faster and more energy efficient, and NVIDIA won't be the only option anymore. So most beginners are ignoring this completely, but the hardware layer is what determines how fast and how cheap AI actually becomes. Better chips means powerful AI at lower cost that affects every product we use. So the chips for the AI is like oil for a combustion engine. Simple analysis. NVIDIA has had a near monopoly on AI training chips, which is truth. That monopoly is what made AI expensive to run at scale. When AMD offers a real alternative, prices fall, access expands, and more companies can afford to build serious AI product. That's good for everyone building in the space. It was listening in Pakistan. Please, please focus. Never mind. So I find hardware stories underneath in AI communities. We focus on models and APIs, but underneath every model is a chip, which is the truth. And that chip determines the ceiling of what's possible. AMD entering this space seriously means the ceiling just got a bit higher. So this matters more than most people realize. AI shifts how we find products online. Here's the ninth story. AI is breaking Google search and nobody's talking about what that means for you. SEO become now GE or some kind of thing. Search engine optimization has changed, and I'm googling a bit lower in these AI days. Most of the time I use ChatGPT for my search, and for the research I use Perplexity AI, and for this kind of development I use Claude a lot. So it is for real clear truth. You getting my point? So now data tracking 50 B2B keywords in Q1 2026 found that pages holding top 3 Google rankings saw click-through rates fall 18 to 34%. So after AI generated answer appeared above them, even though the ranking and impression stayed the same, the top results no longer means the click. So when you Google something now, you often get an AI summary at the top. You might have seen this. So you get your answer, you don't click the website below, the website still ranks hashtag 1. but just stop getting visitor. The entire economics of the internet just quietly changed. The businesses, creators, and developers who understand how AI systems discover and reference content will have an advantage that old school SEO practitioners won't. The game didn't just change, the sports changed. The whole game is changed. So, what are the impacts of it on creators, businesses, marketers, and developers? For creators, being cited by AI answer is now more valuable than ranking one on Google. So, traffic models for the businesses, traffic models built on Google search are under serious structural threat. And for the marketers, new skills optimizing content to appear inside AI generated answers. And for the developers, new tools for AI visibility tracking are genuine product opportunity right now. And this is quite good. When uh, a new developer work on something and publish his project, sorry, it is quite harder for him or her to rank on Google because the traditional SEO systems won't let it do it. Uh, and now the Google search and the searching algorithm change and it show you what you actually typed for and what you actually need. So you don't have to scroll random websites to get your desired information. AI decide for you, and this is happening, and you have might notice it. So this is one of those stories that looks boring and technical on the surface, and is actually one of the most disruptive things happening in business right now. The internet discovers layer is being rebuilt. If you create content, sell products, or build apps, this affects you directly. The opportunity no one is talking about here is Anthropic's noble prediction. So let's talk about it a bit. Bigger prediction. Anthropic's co-founder predicts a Nobel level AI breakthrough within 12 months and admits it could kill everyone. Jack Clark at Oxford. So there's a non-zero chance this technology could kill everyone on the planet. So Anthropic's co-founder Jack Clark spoke at Oxford and made two statements that generated enormous discussion. First, he predicted AI would deliver a Nobel Prize worth scientific breakthrough within 12 months. And second, he acknowledged there is a non-zero chance that AI could kill everyone on the planet in the same speech. So, simple explanation would be this isn't doomer talk or hype. It's a senior AI researcher being radically honest about what this own company is building. His own company is building. AI is simultaneously the most promising technology ever created, capable of solving cancer, climate, poverty, and potentially the most dangerous. Both things are true at the same time. So the reason I find this story important isn't the fear factor. It's the honesty. The people closest to this technology are dismissing the risk. They're building they're building anyway because they believe they can do it safely. Whether they are right is the defining question of this era. Let me read it again for you. The reason I find this story important isn't the fear factor; it's the honesty. The people closest to this technology aren't dismissing the risk; they're building anyway because they believe they can do it safely. So whether they are right is the defining question of this era. So the honest answer is we're all living through a transition that nobody fully controls, nobody fully understands, and that most people are not prepared for. So the right response isn't panic; it's informed engagement. So you should know what's being built, by who, and why. That's exactly why you are here. So to be clear, a Nobel level breakthrough within 12 months is an extraordinary claim, but coming from someone who is building the technology, making the math problem solving from a story one possible. I'm not dismissing it, I'm watching it a bit carefully. So, this is the story I'll be thinking about longest, not because of the fear, but because of what it represents. We are living through a moment in history where the most advanced technology ever built is being simultaneously celebrated and feared by the same people building it. So that's not contradiction, that's honesty, and I respect it. So now let's connect all 10 stories together. So we so here's the pattern underneath all 10 stories. These stories look separately, they are not. When you line them up, you see the same shift happening from 10 different directions at once. AI is crossing from tools to infrastructure. Google isn't selling an assistant, governments are using AI for audits, AMD is building chips for AI at 2 nanometer. AI has stopped being optional and started being structural. The money is now enormous and real. Anthropic is profitable. OpenAI is going public. Valuation is the hundreds of billions of dollars. This isn't venture betting anymore. So this is generational wealth being created and destroyed simultaneously. So AI is reshaping every layer of society at once. Jobs, religion, law, government, science, search. These aren't separate stories. They are the same technology touching different parts of civilization in the same 7 day period. So the people closer to it are the most honest about both the promise and the danger. So Jack Clark's Oxford speech wasn't a PR disaster, it was a rare moment and clarity from inside the machine. So the builders aren't have, they are determined, and that's worth understanding. So the window to learn is open right now, but it won't stay this wide forever. So every week, the skill gap between people who understand AI and people who don't widens. We are still early enough that catching up is possible. We are late enough that waiting is costly. So the biggest risk right now isn't AI replacing you. It's someone who understands AI replacing you. Keep showing up. That's actually the strategy. Tonight we covered 10 stories. AI solved an ETS all problem. Company hits a $900 billion valuation. The pop wrote about AI ethics. The US government deployed ChatGPT. 8,000 people lost their jobs to it. Every single one of those things happened in the same week. So I started this stream as someone learning AI publicly, not as a group. I'm very honest about it. So not as an expert, but as someone who decided that showing up and paying attention was better than staying confused. So if you are here, you made that same decision tonight, and I genuinely believe that decision compounds over time in ways we can't fully predict. So you're not behind, you are building. There is a clear difference. So follow for more daily stories and share the stream.